Welcome to Motors and Medicine. On today's episode, I'm going to be removing my spare tire here in the back of the Bronco, and we're going to be installing a brake light ring to put on the back side of the spare. I'll show it to you guys. This is what it looks like. So it's got LED lights, so it should last fairly long while. It's got good 14 gauge wire, so it looks like it may be pretty decent quality. I believe I picked this up from Amazon, and there's a bunch of different ones that you can choose from, but this particular one had good reviews, had good durability, so this is the one I'm gonna go with and try it out, see how it works. What we're gonna have to do first is get the spare off, and then I'll show you guys what to do from there. All right, once you get the spare off, then we've got to remove these 4 screws. They're, I believe, T25 maybe? Let's see if it fits. Actually, I think these ones might be T30. Okay, so it looks like it is a T30 star bit. So I'm gonna get going on that. All right. Set those down. Basically what we're doing now is just kind of setting down the third brake light here. Then we've got to remove with a T25 or T20 remove. There's, let's see, 8 more of these little screws that hold this sandwiched together. So that's the next step. Let's see. All right. All right. Once you set those down, then this is supposed to come apart pretty easily. So let's see how that works. There we go. Once you separate these two pieces, then you can kind of see the wiring here. So there's basically two wires to this. There's a black, and so there's a yellow, gray, and then a black. So the yellow is the positive and the black is the ground. So rather than cut these wires and splice in, what I chose to do was just use a T-tap, just because it's a lot easier to deal with, and I don't have to hack up any wires, and if I ever decide that this doesn't work or if it stops working, then I can just take the T-taps off and it's not a big deal, no harm, no foul. So now what I'm gonna do is actually just kind of skin back just a little bit of the wire so that I can T-tap in here with the fitting. I'll show you what that looks like. So this is what a T-tap looks like. And what you do is you just use like a razor blade to take off some of the insulation, and then you snap this on, and then this is the male connector that you plug into the T-tap once you fold it shut. And so I'm gonna actually attach this to the light itself from a wiring perspective, and then we'll put on these T-taps and see how it looks. So we'll go from there. All right, so this is how it sits. This is how it's gonna sit here, and then the wheel just kind of holds it in place. I've unraveled the wire, and so you basically just have a black and a red. So like I was saying earlier, we're gonna attach the red to the yellow and the black to the black here. And I'm gonna do that with some connections, but first I'm gonna have to snake the wire through here on the back, and then through the back up here, route it all along the back side of this, and then plug it in. So I'm gonna do that routing, and then I'll show you guys how it looks once it's routed, and then we'll attach the connectors and get the T-taps in here, and we'll show you how it looks. All right, so as you can see here, I have it all wired up. This is still mounted in the same spot. Here, this is the connector that connects into the third brake light here. And what I did was just tap in with these T-tap connectors. I basically just connected the wire that I unloomed from back in the back of the LED ring, and then just connected using a crimper like this. It's a special tool that you use to crimp connectors onto wires. And basically I just crimped on the two connectors that work with these T-taps. I did shave away a little bit of the insulation on the two wires on the connector so that the T-taps would make a better connection. Admittedly, I've used T-taps in the past, and most of the time they work fine. Occasionally they don't make the best connection, so as a little insurance, I always make sure that I peel away a little bit of the insulation, and then I attach the T-tap so I can get a good contact. And then I just kind of routed the wire, as you can see here, just kind of routed it along where the factory wire goes, and then through the back, out through the side. And what I did was I installed a piece of vacuum tubing just to protect the wire, so it doesn't get cut for any reason. And it's going to be hidden by the tire anyway, but I just wanted to do that just to kind of get it out of the way. So next, what we'll do is I will put this backing back on. Once I get this back on and snap it back together, then I can just reassemble this portion and get it back up onto the spare tire rack, and then we'll see how everything looks, make sure it looks good, and I'll test it, and then I'll show you guys what the test looks like. So we'll go to that point. Okay. So I got this put back together, and I've already tested the light, but I'm gonna test it again so you guys can see what it looks like before I put the tire on, and then we'll look at it after the fact. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump in the car and just push on the brakes and see how it looks. All right, so as you can see, it lights up pretty good. These LEDs are pretty bright. Next, I'm gonna put the spare back on, and then we'll see how it looks through the spare. All right, so we got the spare back on. One thing that I wanted to add was that I realized that the security on this spare isn't the best. I mean, there's basically just three 19mm nuts that hold it on, so I got to thinking that it'd be really easy to steal the spare. So the overprotective nature that I have, I decided to buy a wheel lock. So since there's only three nuts, I replaced one of them with a wheel lock so that at least I have a little bit of peace of mind for security's sake. But I don't know if any of you who own a Bronco or a Jeep or anything that has a spare in the back has ever felt like it would be an easy thing to steal. At least on the Bronco, there's really nothing to stop. I timed myself and I got this wheel off in about less than 30 seconds. So I guess if I parked it somewhere, it could happen. But anyway, I digress. I'm gonna get back into the car. We'll see how it looks through the wheel itself, and hopefully that'll finish the video. So we'll go check it out now. All right, so that does it for this. It's a super easy project. Like I said, you know, it's just a matter of having the right tools. Like I said, these are 19mm, so that's pretty straightforward. I ended up using, let's see. A T25 and is it a T40? A T30 and a T25. Those are the two that you need to take apart the third brake light assembly housing. You saw how easy that was to take it apart. It's not difficult. And tracing the wire, you know, I just undid that wire that was already loomed and then just kind of ran it through first before I put the connectors on. And once I put the connectors on, it just came together really easy. It wasn't difficult. It snapped in there, it's secure, it's away from the weather. So hopefully this lasts a long time, doesn't have any problems, but it definitely helps kind of bring a little bit more to the back side of the car with the brakes. And I just like the LEDs, so we'll see how it goes. But our next video, I'm gonna be traveling to Las Vegas tomorrow, and I'm gonna be spending the entire day there at SEMA. So I'm gonna be getting some good footage, looking at a bunch of the new and improved offerings and equipment from the aftermarket, as well as some of the vehicles, the specialty vehicles that go to SEMA. So I'll try to showcase a lot of that. I'm sure I'm gonna run into a lot of new Mustangs and Corvettes, Z06s, lots of things like that. There's probably some exotics that have been modified, but I'll try to bring you guys as much of that content as possible. And then I'll try to upload that video sometime this weekend. So until next time, this is Motors and Medicine signing off. Thank you for all your support.